Hey everybody, I'm Laura DiCarlo of Career Directors International. If you're currently thinking about starting, or actively building a resume writing or career coaching business, I am so glad you've joined us today. In this show, we share tools, strategy, and mindset tips that lead to your success without the stress. I've got some great guests I'm going to be introducing you to here in a moment. Hi, ladies. Listen, we're currently streaming on CDI's Facebook page, YouTube channel, and LinkedIn page, but we are not going to ask you to jump through any hoops to give permission to see your name. Just do us a favor, and when you're participating in the chat, please include your full name at first. So we're not just going, oh, this Facebook user says hi. All right, if you don't know me yet, my goal is to become your not-so-secret superpower. At Career Directors International, we provide everything you need to love and excel at what you do so you can make a difference while also earning an exceptional living as a career industry professional. All right, so throughout June, we have been talking about the 24th Annual Toast of the Resume Industry TORI Resume Writing Awards. Each week we've been interviewing 3 TORI winners so that you can learn about award-winning resume writing strategy and the return on investment of competing in the TORIs. For this final show in the series, my guests are, and please help me in the chat to say hello to them, Bridget Batson of Houston Outplacement, Catharine Craig of Great Big World Writing, and Paula Christensen of Strategic Career Coaches. Hello, ladies. Welcome. And I see we have something in the chat already. All right, we've got Gina Cristiano, and she says, hi, everyone. It's Gina. So excited to see you all. Gina, we can see your name, so you are good to go. All right, I'm going to be introducing all 3 of them to you fully in just a moment here. But first, I want to ask you to do 3 things. First, as Gina has done, please say hello in the chat. Cheer on our great guests who are making time to share their advice and stories with you today. And again, include your name. Second, if you've got questions for our guests or on the subject of the TORIs today, please drop them in the chat. And third, if you want to make sure you don't miss out on our show every week, Wednesday at 3:45 Eastern, please like, follow, and or subscribe depending on your channel. All right. Let me tell you about these ladies, and I want to change my screen orientation here. And I want to remove, we were like, why do we have heads cut off today? We haven't been able to figure that out, but I said I would change my page layout so we could better see everybody. All right, I think that's a little better, don't you? Mm-hmm. Okay, let me tell you about these 3 resume writing phenoms. First, we have Bridget Batson. She's a 5-time TORI winner and owner of Houston Outplacement. She has composed over 8,000 resumes for her clients spanning over 25 years and has worked with clients across all levels, industries, and specialties. She's passionate about empowering others in the field and is an active member of the CDI Education Committee. And I will also add that she holds 4 resume writing certifications, including CDI's Certified Master Resume Writer, Certified Executive Resume Master, and Certified Graphic Resume Architect. Hi, Bridget.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Super excited.
Always super excited.
All right. Yeah. Second, we have Paula Christensen, and she's a certified professional resume writer and interview coach who helps position clients to get noticed so they can land jobs they love. Paula's expertise has been recognized in several publications, including Resumes for Dummies, yay, expert resumes and LinkedIn profiles for managers and executives, and the Ferguson Guide to Resumes and Job Hunting Skills. Her contributions to the field have also earned her 3 TORI awards, a source of immense pride for her. In addition to providing resume and interview prep services, she also offers job search workshops and outplacement presentations. And I'll also add that among her credentials, Paula holds CDI's Certified Graphic Resume Architect credential. Kind of a theme here going on, right? The TORIs
and your CEIC credential.
And the CEIC. Okay, I think I probably just focused on resume writing.
Gotcha.
When I put the list together. Yeah, Certified Employment Interview Consultant for anyone who just doesn't naturally know our acronyms. Welcome, Paula. I'm excited to have you here. All right. And finally, we have Well, we just lost her, I think. Did Catherine just disappear? All right, well, I will do the intro because I know she's coming back. Catharine Craig is a 3-time certified resume writer with 3 TORI awards under her belt and more than 15 years of experience. Her superpower is thick-skinned persistence. Since her beginning, she has been blessed to learn from the best while subcontracting for industry experts including Emily Caput, Kim Baker, Michelle Dumas, and Brenda Bernstein. And I'm going to add, of course, that among her credentials, Catharine holds CDI's Certified Career Storyteller credential. So let's turn her back on. Hi again, Catharine. I just finished telling them about you, so welcome. I'm glad you're joining us. And I hope technology can keep you here today.
Yes, I'm having some trouble today.
It's okay. It happens. It happens. We have lost people from storms, camera issues, and just simply no-shows. Thank goodness it was on a week when we had more than one guest, or I would have been like, heck. So you're here. You're making the effort. That's what counts. All right. So if you want to, again, say hello in the chat to these wonderful resume writer professionals. I'm losing my ability to speak. Please drop your comment in the chat now. Before we start, I've got 8 questions for them, but before we go into this, for anybody who's new to the TORIs, I just want to recap what we've been talking about. So right now we're nearing the end of the 24th TORI Award season, and let me drop, while I'm talking about it, I'll just put this at the bottom of the screen, which does make the picture a little bit weird. There you can see, if you want to learn more about the TORIs, this is the direct link. The TORIs, again, 24th season of these annual resume writing award competition. Registration's only open for 22 more days. Registration is going to close for at least one category on July 18th. And then for anyone who has gotten that registration in, they're going to have 3 additional weeks to prepare entries. But we know, I mean, I can't even believe it's July, already. How did that even happen? So if you're not familiar with the TORIs, they are an annual resume writing competition. We have 10 categories. Some are classic design, some are high design. High design are much more fancy, graphically oriented, whereas, classic design, I want you to not think boring and ordinary. I mean, in a lot of cases, I think it's a challenge to make sure, I mean, you're relying simply on writing, and one of Bridget's tips I've seen on white space, negative space, you have to work almost just as hard, I think, to do a great classic design resume, because you don't have the extra bells and whistles. So each category has 5 nominees, making 50 chances for nomination, and each category will have 3 winners for 2nd and 3rd place. One of our participants brought up in the last couple of weeks, and I want to re-mention this, that the TORIs are judged anonymously. We provide you with a number, and the only one who knows who that number is the director of the TORIs and our admin staff. So when judges look at the resumes, they don't know who you are. It's a very even playing field where your work is being judged by you and not by who you are in the industry, blah, blah, blah. But there's such great opportunity in the competition for a resume writer to make their mark. Historically, registration is low. And when you think about it, not that many people strive to be the best of the best. But I feel very strongly that when we're talking about a job seeker's livelihood, that it should be each and every one of our goals to be the best that we can possibly be. Because at the end of the day, how quickly they're going to be successful truly depends on the effort we have put into their presentation. So when we participate in things like the TORIs, not only do we have the chance to increase our visibility and our authority and potentially command greater rates because we're award winning, but we also show that we stand for making sure our job seekers can stand out against competition, including other TORI winners who might have written the resumes of their competition. So yeah, I'm soapboxing here, but I'm very passionate, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that TORI has made it very easy for me to grow my business, gain the confidence of my clients when I had a practice, and be successful. So All right, enough. That's the Tories in a nutshell. If you have questions while we're going, please drop them in the chat. But now, if you are ready to hear from Bridget, Paula, and Catherine, let's give me a hashtag go or some other exciting hashtag in the chat. All right. And remember, if you haven't said hello yet, I see the numbers going up on participants. So please say hello and give us your name in the chat. All right. Let's start with Bridget and we will go around from there. Bridget, Paula, Catherine, for this first question. How many years have you been entering and what categories have you won? And I mean, talking a lot of awards, you don't have to list them all, but just give a
Right. I have been entering the TORI Awards for 3 years, and I wish I would have done it sooner because it had such a profound impact on my business, as well as you hit the nail on the head of the confidence, right? So it's like, oh my gosh, wow. I remember the first year I was like losing sleep after I entered. I was like, oh my goodness, they're coming out. And then I won. I was like, oh my gosh. So it was absolutely amazing. It had such a great impact on my business. I've won, I think I've been nominated like 10 times, won 5, sales, executive, and like 2 entry levels, and I think healthcare, but I can't remember. No, I don't think healthcare. I think it was mainly, I don't remember which ones it was. I think mainly executive and sales is what I've entered. I'm trying to remember.
Okay. So. Good deal. All right. How about you, Paula?
I've entered 6 times. So every year since 2018, I have not missed a year. I've had 3 wins. All of them were in the new grad category. 2 were one was classic design and 2 were, what did you call it, Laura? High design?
High design. Yeah.
High design.
Yeah, just to clarify for everyone, we used to not have to designate classic versus high. And then one day I woke up and was like, what happened? Because the Tories were never meant to be, I mean, at the end of the day, if you go look at the writing of the Tories, because we have all the winners online that you can see if you go to that link I shared, and I'll share again. But when you look, you'll see writing always trumps everything. But somewhere along the line, people were just really, putting all in on design. And I wanted to make sure we had a platform where people could demonstrate that a resume can be just as effective and even as strong. So that is just as effective without having to use color and graphics and whatnot. So we were like, let's designate specifically categories where you can't do those things. And I think it's been a very valuable introduction because it was, design is important. And I won awards way back into the 90s with full color graphic resumes that also had client success stories. But again, it wasn't the purpose, and I never want to hear somebody say, I only do the design to win a TORI. That wasn't the goal. It should be something you're using with clients to give them that unique edge. Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So I can expound. Mm-hmm. All right. How about you, Catherine? Do you remember the question still?
Yeah. I think this was the 3rd year that I entered. And this is the only year that I've won. And I won 3 this year. I won 1 in executive classic design, difficult transition classic design, and then tech. Can you hear me? Okay. Tech, the high design one.
Awesome. All right. So 3 Tories for the 23rd annual. Fantastic. Yeah. All right. And you've actually answered my next question, because I was looking at my next question and going, how did I make it to week 4 asking this question? And somebody didn't answer it. So Catherine's been psychic and she's already answered it. But let's I was going to start with Paula. Did you enter any years before you started getting nominated or winning?
No, I won my first year I entered, and I just entered 1.
Okay.
So it's extremely exciting. I may or may not have cried. It was like 2 years into my business, and I was just like, I loved looking at the Tories and like wanted to be able to write like that, and worked really, really hard on my writing skills. And so it was extremely thrilling.
And that, I'm glad to hear somebody who's, I think you said winning in the new grad category.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
That's so valuable to me because I feel like I hear from way too many resume writers who, oh, I love new graduate resumes. They're so easy.
Yeah.
I'm appalled because I think that's like one of your hardest categories to really successfully sell a candidate. So when I see people entering and winning there, I'm like, yes, I know who to refer new graduate clients to. All right, Catherine. So you said that you did. So there was a second part to the question. So what were are there any lessons you're willing to share that that kept you entering and what you did differently?
Yes. This time I just focused on that. Oh, I had the most practice with classic design, and I had worked so hard to up my design skills, but I had been writing and I had kind of apprenticeships and I'd really been working on those writing skills. But when I entered before, I tried with the design I did, and it just fell flat for me because I think I wasn't using it as often. And then I took a class with Marie Plett. And after that is when I got up the courage to submit my resume. I've used had before, but so design for me. But I just entered the categories I knew I had the most practice with.
Perfect, perfect. And I think what I would make sure that viewers think about that is what I hear Catherine saying is it's a muscle that you just strengthen. You know, in fact, I see something in the chat here. Let's see. Gina says, "You're all giving me inspiration and hope about entering for the first time. I am so nervous." Well, the good thing is, Gina, is that you're the only one who will know. So, but I'll be in your corner, hoping it works for you. All right. So, what about you, Bridget? Did you enter any years before you started getting nominated?
No. I actually remembered my other one. It was hospitality. This was like 3 years ago, and hospitality was one. That was my first win, and that was my first year entering.
Okay.
It was high. All mine have been high design.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's really cool because you just never know. I am one of those people who was also lucky enough and or skilled enough, whatever you want to call it, that I won the first time I entered. Did I win every category I entered? No. But you don't know until you try. And I always think that we're not only competing against ourselves, and anything we do to up our game is a win for our clients. All right, question 3, and this time we're going to start with Catherine. So, and hear me out because there's a little bit here that I've been adding on to the regular question. So I want to know, and I know our viewers want to know, what software you use to prepare your resumes. And if you're doing high design, so I've been doing I've done a couple webinars for members and a private bonus one for TORI registrants in May. And I feel like I'm seeing, and I've had guests tell me that yes, there's some in there. So I want to know, have you started using Canva at all as one of your tools for designing some of the graphic elements in your resumes? So Catherine, to you first, software.
Sure. Primarily, I just use Word and Paint and PowerPoint. One that we're probably mostly familiar with. Canva, I have designed. Anything that I could say sure and just bring it over. So I have used Canva for that.
Okay. Perfect. It's I don't get anything by saying that, but I love Canva. All right. How about you, Bridget?
I use so many programs to create these. Obviously, everything is dumped into Word, right? Because we want to make it ATS friendly. But I love Canva to create a lot of graphic elements. Also, PicMonkey is great in terms of you take like something from Canva, but you want to change a little bit more than Canva offers. You pop it in there. You can actually do a little bit more variety with that picture. If someone's like, sometimes if I'm like in the middle of the night because I'm a crazy workaholic, I'm like, oh, I want to create some cool generic, just kind of patterns and stuff like that. I will pop over to Midjourney and have it create some little, like, I'll pick color schemes of hex codes that I really like together and have it create some abstracty things in there. And then if I want to do like a really cool diagram, sometimes Canva has some really cool ones, but also SketchWow, I've got it on my program, I think it's SketchWow, also does some as well. And then to create maps, I love Map Chart. So if you want to create a custom map with cool, like, hey, I grew this, business from Texas to Florida, right? And you want to do arrows over there. You can actually create it where it shades it all up for you and then pop in those arrows on Canva, whatever you want to do, and create this really cool thing that shows actual growth, market expansion, business expansion, whatever the case may be.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
I think I've heard like a
That's
couple
cool.
of Adobe programs, and Word and Canva and Photoshop, but these are all new ones to me, so that's awesome.
I'm a TikToker. You got to find, I'm like, what are the new programs? So I will find stuff that other businesses use and incorporate that into my resume writing, both, for clients and for Tories.
Very neat. Very neat. I like it. Okay. But anybody watching this, don't get intimidated that you have to do all those things. We know Bridget is she's high energy. I get excited and tired when I'm with Bridget. All right, Paula, what about you?
I just want to say that's awesome, Bridget. I wrote those down. I also have not heard of many of those and so excited to dig into that. I primarily use Adobe Illustrator. So just a little backstory. When I first started seeing resumes that had those graphic elements and didn't know how to do it, my husband knew Adobe Illustrator and he's like, I can do that. So when I first started doing resumes, he would actually do the logo for me, or if I wanted some kind of image on there or chart. And then I one day I was like, I got to learn this myself. So I took a course. I'm still not amazing at it. I am learning all the time though. And I feel like I'm good enough to get in and manipulate stuff and do some stuff. I use Canva a little bit, kind of what Catherine was saying. Like I can get in there. I like it for social media. I use it all the time for that. And I'm starting to use it more for my resumes. So it's just so user friendly. Sometimes I can take, like somebody said, take that image and pull it over to Adobe and do something different with it. So yeah, primarily Word, Adobe, and Canva.
Cool. Very cool. All right. And props to you for Adobe Illustrator. I back slowly away. I would have to take a class for sure.
Yeah, and still there are times I'm like, I go into Chat GPT and I'm like, how do I do this in Illustrator? Because it's like I do not feel like that is super easy.
No, for sure. For sure. All right, let's see. That was 3 questions. So we're back to Bridget. But first, viewers, if you want to share anything different about software or again, have any questions, drop it in the chat. But let's move on to question 4. This one's coming to you, Bridget, first. What's the least, I think you kind of already answered this, so we probably go through this one really quickly. Least most categories you enter each year?
I do. The career transitions. I usually shy away from that one. And what's funny is I do it all the time for my clients. I don't know. I just, for some reason, I never enter that category. And I don't really enter any of the classic categories. Okay.
So you're probably entering about 5 categories a year, you think? Okay. All right. What about you, Paula?
The least I've ever done is 1, and I've done that a couple times. The most was 3 last year. I think I might have done 2 one year as well, but I don't know how you guys do it because it's hard, like making them anonymous and making them perfect and extremely proofread is time consuming. So yeah,
it doesn't seem to matter how early we open it. We know
100%.
So like people are like having trouble getting it in. I mean, all you have to do is email your entries in, but you have a submission system, and it's like, well, you wonder why it's crashing in the last 15 minutes? I know why it's crashing.
Right. Been there.
How about you, Catherine? Can you hear me, Catherine? She does not have any sound. I think Catherine might be frozen. All right. We will move on and hope she is back with us here shortly. All right, question 5 coming to Paula first. Why have the TORIs been important to you, and what have they helped you to accomplish?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is just learning and growing. Seeing the examples of other TORI winners and wondering like, oh my gosh, how did they do that? And I don't know if I didn't have that example, because really when you think about it, other than maybe some of those on Etsy or some of those column resume designs that you can see out there, I don't know where we're seeing something with those design elements or the way that they're categorizing information. Like, I think I'm a pretty creative person, but I don't know if I would have thought about, oh, you could put all their XYZ projects together in a call out box, like it, just so many things from writing to design to the way things are categorized. That's what I've taken the most out of it, is just emulating other people and learning from really others.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's where you're going with that question, but that was the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah, I was looking, whatever value the TORIs have had to you, it's different for everybody as to what their takeaway has been. All right, so Catharine, that question was, why have the TORIs been important to you, and what have they helped you to accomplish?
I think the biggest thing is they have helped me feel validated. I know now that my peers recognize my work. I've been doing it for a very long time. I've been writing for a long time. And so to finally kind of feel like I'm now at the top of my game, so to speak, that felt really good. And then, of course, to have that sort of for my clients to understand that I've worked really hard and that I'm recognized amongst my peers as somebody who is excellent. I think that was important to me.
Perfect. All right, what about you, Bridget?
I really think that TORI's there's a couple of different things. Number one, it keeps you on your toes. You have to learn all the time. You have to learn from others. You have to learn through any channels, means, whatever necessary. And then it's given me a few calling cards, like that entry-level teacher one. I have had so many people call me and be like, are you the one that did that one that I saw online? I want one like that. So, and it's just, I love that one. I threw neon in there. But people love it. And it's become like, people will call me out of the blue, like, hey, I saw this and I want one just like this. So absolutely. And then also it's been really cool about growing my network in terms of all the other resume writers that we collaborate together. I've met so many people, other amazing, beautiful resume writers in the game because of the TORIs, because every time you win or you're nominated, you start tagging each other. You're like, oh my gosh. So you learn, you kind of build these online social media friendships, which are, you've got now a bigger network of support. So that's been really instrumental as well. I feel like I know everyone better.
That's great. Yeah. Instant authority. Well, instant, but earned through hard work and commitment and dedication. All right, viewers, if you have any thoughts on this, if you've won or been nominated and want to share any experiences you've had, please drop them in the chat. All right, otherwise, let's see. I'm not doing great here with so Bridget just went. That means we started with Paula. All right, so this is question 6, we're starting with Catharine. All right, so I know this is what viewers are super eager to learn. So what's one strategy that you would recommend to a writer who wanted to improve their writing or design overall, not just for the TORIs?
See other great writers and follow them around and see where they work and see if you can write for them. Really, seriously, take classes from them. So find who in your network does excellent work that you like. Because I think we all have a different sense of taste when it comes to style and writing. So find writers that you love their style and you want to learn it, and just you can be their student.
Great. All right. How about you, Bridget? Oh, Catharine, were you not done? I'm sorry. I thought you were.
Yeah, no, I'm done. I'm lagging. My whole thing is lagging, so I'm sorry.
Gotcha. No worries. All right. So I think I went out of order because I'm going to Bridget next. I don't know. Bridget?
Well, obviously to keep learning and watch others. But one of my favorite kind of different tactics is talk to your clients, talk to them for hours, learn what's going on in the different industries, what words, what progressions, right? Like, you know, learn where the industry is going in terms of the top impacts of that industry. You're not going to get that always from a questionnaire. So you talk to them, you learn. Now that I've moved to live resume writing a couple of years ago, where I spend 6-7 hours with a client, I just feel like, I'm like, oh yeah, I could probably go to any job in the world and interview for it and get it. I'd be fired after the first day when they realized I couldn't do it. I just talked my way through it. But if you can talk to clients, you're going to learn so much about their industries, the keywords, what the impacts are, and you can now put that on the resume to tell their story of impacts. And they can go on the interview already pretty much having the job because of their resume.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I think that the aha moments that come from talking to someone and consciously looking at every piece, every paradigm of who they are makes such a big difference when you're looking at somebody's career, because they're not two-dimensional, right? And she mentioned live resume writing. We've actually got a great webinar that's on demand for CDI members. I'll make sure with the replay that I link to that specifically if anybody wants to check it out. It's a neat concept, but I'm a big fan of picking people's brains, and you'll get a kick out of this. I used to tell job seekers when I was writing resumes, I would say, you're going to love this because it's going to be the first time that anybody ever said, tell me what you do, and really wanted to know everything. And then I would go on to tell them that I know just enough to be entertaining at cocktail parties and dangerous in real life. To get the job, but I certainly couldn't do it. So. What about you, Paula?
As far as like a tip for a writer to improve their writing, I would also say, like, some of you might be like me. I was a human resource person who thought they could go into resume writing. And I was not that writer girl. So I did not go to college. I purposely took Bachelor of Science because I didn't want to write papers. And that was a struggle for me. And I just kept writing and writing and writing. So I wrote blog posts, I wrote LinkedIn posts, started journaling for the first time in my life. And I took a lot of courses on grammar and writing and formatting. You know, that's a whole nother category. I was more naturally good at that, actually. But I really had to kind of put my due in, you know, and I know, Laura, you've said that a lot of people, their entries get disqualified because of the writing. And, you know, they might think, yes, they can do the design, but I would encourage people, like, you can grow your writing, you can get better, but, you know, you do have to do writing in order for that to happen.
Right. Hey, look, I mean, I think that's fabulous advice. I mean, I went to college for creative writing, English, and technical writing.
Wow.
I've still bought so many books over the years. I mean, I've been 30 years in a writing career. I wrote resumes for dummies. I have the thesaurus is my friend. You know, I want to find another way to say something. I still take writing classes and copywriting classes, and I feel like if a resume writer wants to be better, yes, you become better at writing in general. First and foremost, I feel like there's a war going on right now of all the people who think they're resume writers, who think a resume is what they wrote for themselves once or twice in their job and for their friends. And that is nothing like what people like Bridget, Paula, and Catharine would create. Nothing at all. But you almost have to be in the inner sanctum of knowing about the Tories, knowing about some of the good books, things that give people an edge. And it always starts with writing. Some of the most incredible looking resumes, my judges, I don't look at them all. I mean, I'll look at Gina's because now I know they're coming. Corner, and I'm hoping that Gina does awesome. But for the most part, I don't have time to look at them all. The judges do. And I will hear that, oh, wow, this one was so incredibly beautiful. And at first we were awed, but the writing didn't live up. So for sure, that is the best thing you can do, is know that just naturally, the more you write, the better you're going to get. But it's a dues process. And for some of us, we're already there at the first year of entering or being in the industry. And for others, it takes time to grow. I think a lot of us, I know I'm still embarrassed by what got me my first resume certification.
Yeah, same.
30 years ago. All right, let's see. I asked everybody. I started with Catherine. So this one's to Bridget, right? Starting with Bridget, yeah. I'm having such a good time. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Right. It's okay. We don't remember either. It's okay.
Yeah. All right. So this is question 7 of 8. What's one other tip you would give to a resume writer on entering or winning it and getting nominated?
Just do it. Number one, right? I know it's really, really scary. It's just put yourself out there. The first time you're going to second guess yourself. But again, just do it and look at the others. Obviously, look at the white space. Use the grid marks on the word, to make sure everything's lined up correctly and everything. And then, of course, practice your writing. Look at job descriptions. If something isn't quite resonating with your category, look at some job descriptions, making sure that you have the right keywords and what these employers are looking for in terms of impact. And this, of course, is for TORIs as well as your regular clients.
Great. Okay. That was supposed to be okay. How about you, Paula?
To Bridget's point about just doing it. So I had a networking meeting with someone years ago that I remember the meeting, and she was a judge. And I had told her that I was thinking about entering, and she said, some of the categories you would be surprised there's not as many entries as you would think. And that was strangely kind of motivating for me, like to just know, like, it's okay. It was less intimidating, I guess. So I would encourage people, same thing, just do it. I would also say hire a proofreader. That's huge for me. Also, one little thing I thought about is, you'll remember this, Laura, but maybe you still have it up. There was some kind of a video I watched, I believe last year, about just tips for TORI entries. And even though I had entered before and won before, I watched that thing and paused it and made sure that my entries, hit all those categories. So definitely do that.
Oh, perfect. And that last week we had Yuvika Iyer as one of our guests, and she talked about, she studied the TORIs. So kind of similar to what you said, but she studied the TORIs and made a checklist that she would use to make sure her resumes hit those points. But yeah, the tip videos, again, they'll be at the bottom of the replay, and I'll talk about how people who aren't subscribed to CDI can find that in a little bit here. But also, if you go to careerdirectors.com and you click on the free stuff, there is a section for TORI resources, and those are, you're going to be able to find the Q&As with judges and winners and these replays and those TORI videos that I have done. Trying to motivate people to a higher level. Yes. All right. How about you, Catherine? Anything else you would share on this topic?
The proofreader was really key for me, because you've looked at your own work so long. It was very important to have a fresh pair of eyes on my work. And it continues to be professionally. My work always goes to a proofreader first or an editor first before it goes to a client. That's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would agree. It's super easy to overlook when I do, on the occasions where I get to work with somebody, like on the TORI Master Mentor program, or I call it Resume Master Mentor because it helped people win TORIs, but the goal was just to help them become better writers. I always call myself eagle eyes, because I can see it in somebody else's work that I just totally, like you see, oh, you changed fonts here. Oh, you've got a spacing inconsistency here. Oh, you've got a typo. And believe it or not, and if you've been following the show weekly while I've been talking TORIs, typos are like the #1 mistake that can hurt a TORI. And I always find it interesting because I hear job seekers and even some resume writers go, oh, it's human error. People make mistakes. And I want to go, okay, what would one mistake in a line of code cost? A mistake speaks to quality. And if you're a job seeker who accidentally puts, like I saw a resume come in one time when I was a placement director for a university, and it had seeking the position of electrical engineer. And I was like, no, And I know it's so easy to overlook. And that's why corporations have quality departments and inspectors, but you need your own quality department, your own inspector, and that's often a proofreader for sure. So heed that advice whenever you're working with a client, and maybe even have a clause like I would make my clients, it was in my contract that they were responsible for final proofing and approval above and beyond anything we did on our end, because I don't know if the phone number is right, which I take to the point of, I know I've said this before, but early in my career, when people still had print resumes, and the client came to my office and had his print resume, I took the phone number. Is this still your phone number? Yes, it is. I took that phone number, I put it on their resume. A few weeks later, they call me all upset about how I've hurt their career because I put the wrong phone number on their resume. I pulled out the old resume and showed, and it was like, this is the phone number. I have it here physically because I still have all the physical resumes in the drawer. And yeah, no wonder his old resume didn't work. Not that it was good, but it had the wrong phone number on it. And I had no way of knowing that. This is on them sometimes too. But yeah, it should be on you first. Before we go to the final question, I also wanted to just mention where Paula and Bridget were saying, just do it. And Bridget and Paula finding out from a judge that some categories may not be as full as others. I just want to stress, because this is the only week I haven't said it this month, and that is looking back at like the last 10 years of TORIs, the most people to enter has been 74 and the least is 48. And that's entries worldwide for 50 opportunities at nomination. Now some of them might buy all 10 categories, and some, like Paula on some years, might buy only one, but you don't know. And you don't know what categories are what. So, I mean, I'm an all-in girl. We're all different. Like I will stay up for 3 nights if I had to be ready. But there is tons of opportunity because most people are just okay maintaining the status quo, but you and your clients benefit when you make this effort. Okay, so I think we're back. Who am I supposed to be asking this 8th question to first?
I think Catharine.
Okay, we're just gonna go with that. And I'm enjoying myself. So, all right, so Catharine first, final question. Any other bits of resume writing advice you would share with the audience?
I do was saying earlier, really getting to know your client, really to the best of your ability. I think you write better for people that you really like. And so just really finding ways to connect with your client, connecting with that person, and really truly hoping the best for them. And I think that inspires your work a little more.
Great. Perfect. All right. How about you, Bridget? Last bits of advice.
Yay. I think we've all covered a lot of great ideas in terms of writing. So I'm going to add a little bit about the graphic design here. Is to have fun with it, right? So you're going to see, you can push, like I take the TORI to kind of push the boundaries and then see if it works. And then I put it in my regular resumes, right? Sometimes I'll push them like that. Like I said, that one year with neon circles, I made like almost like an 80s chalkboard. And I was like, ooh, I kind of have Pac-Man inspiration at 2:00 in the morning one night. And like I said, now that's the one people come to me like, I want that one. And I was like, okay, cool, right? So learn from a foundation, but then have fun. Let your creative juices flow based on what you've done before, based on what you've seen before, and then elevate it.
Elevate it. Yes. All right. How about you, Paula?
I think one kind of final thing that we didn't really talk about is that people in this industry are so generous. I mean, I've just been really amazed by people that I'll talk to who give away how they've done things. I mean, if you wanting to know how maybe a TORI award did awardee did something on the resume, you could maybe hop on a Zoom with them. I mean, you'd be surprised. I think people are super giving, and I've learned so much from other writers that I just, I would encourage people to ask the questions. I remember emailing people one year kind of saying like, I don't get how you got the margins out like this, and it was just extremely helpful. So go ahead and do that.
All right, now you can all expect to get emails. Yeah, and remember, if you're a CDI member, you have access to I think we have 10 video tutorials from former winners that cover everything from the questioning process to the creative process. And we've got great tutorials with Marie Platt. These are all included. And then of course we have Marie's course on the graphic design pieces. But yeah, I love getting excited by, I do classic and high design, but I just love letting the client inspire me and seeing it all as as a marketing and branding process for them. Great advice. You guys covered a lot of the spectrum. So listen, if you are a viewer and you've hung in with us here, I would love it if you jumped in the chat and thanked our guests today, Bridget, Paula, and Catharine, for sharing this great information. And hopefully, Gina, you're a little less nervous and more excited, I hope. So what's going to happen from here with this show is that we will be highlighting some of the tips, some that you heard today and some that you didn't, on social media starting tomorrow. So be sure to watch for those, engage with them, to maybe share your experience and thoughts on strategy that you've used. Tag anyone you think who will need that advice. And if you're a CDI member or you're on our email list, you'll also receive notification of the replay post with the tips and links to supporting resources. And if you're not on that list, you can just hop over to careerdirectors.com and you can either go to the join page and add yourself to the wait list, or you can take the quiz at the top of the page and then you will definitely get the replay. And Gina says, thank you all so much. I will be emailing all of you for guidance and to jump on Zoom calls.
Sorry, everybody.
Hi, Gina.
Yeah, good deal. So yeah, this is great. Stick with me while I talk about what's coming next. But I want to thank each of you for being here today. Really, really valuable. And let's, for the rest here, let me get my design back up, right? Get that TORI. Haha, surprise. This is why I don't ever take the standard banner off, because I tried to put it in video again. Jeez, I don't know what's happening to me today, guys. The TORIs maybe need to end so I can stop juggling things. All right. So there's your link to the TORI resources. Again, 22 days left to register. We didn't talk anything about pricing. Literally one category in the TORIs is a whopping $40 US. If you go up to, I think at 8, there's price breaks. The lowest price is 25 when you're buying 8 to 10 categories. So this is not an expensive opportunity to take this chance. So I mentioned earlier that this was the last week of interviews. If you want to catch replays, again, you can go over to careerdirectors.com and click on free stuff and find them along with the other great TORI resources. We're not going to have a show next week. Independence Day in the US is the following day, and I'm like, oh, I have an excuse. So I'm going to take a break to work on some other things. But we'll be back on the 10th and the 17th, where I'm going to do what I have to this point only, I think, done for members. And I'm going to be talking about why some of the TORI resumes from 2023 won. So if you want to join me live and see, and this is coming from speaking to several people who haven't won in the past, who couldn't see what the difference was. And it's been very eye-opening. I won't be showing you, if you're a member, you have access to one where I showed 4 resumes that didn't win and compared them to winners. Real deep dive. I think we went almost 3 hours in that member included event last month. But we will be showing some of the winners that you can view on your own, but I will be analyzing them and pointing out the reasons that they excel. So be sure to mark your calendar, Wednesday, July 10th, 3:45 p.m. Eastern. And as always, we will be streaming on CDI's Facebook page, YouTube channel, and our LinkedIn page. So again, careerdirectors.com, free stuff is your friend. If you're a member already or on our list, just watch for the replay, and all the great resources to those member deep dive opportunities are going to be there for you at the bottom of the page. So with that, again, I want to thank you, Bridget, Paula, Catherine. Great advice. And if you're entering this year, of course, best of success to each of you. And with that, we are all set, and I'm going to close the show. Thank you very much, ladies, and everybody else. Have a great day. Yeah, we'll hope to see you all in the Tories.